Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 293 of the HP podcast. I don't know why I always do that big hello thing, because I always notice when I go back to like put the audio version up, it just blows out the input, and it just makes it sound awful. But I'm gonna keep doing it most likely, just so everyone knows. I'm Ben, and with me here today, tonight, tomorrow,
This
even,
evening?
perhaps this evening, is Dave. Dave, hello, greetings. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I noticed I was on the internet last week.
Okay,
and,
that's
I noticed Brandon
bold.
published a tweet on the X about listening to some old music. I think it was Stained. Like who was the other
Puddle
one?
of mud. Puddle of
Puddle
mud,
of
baby.
Mud. And it made me think because I've suddenly started to listen to a kind of music that I've never actually listened to before, which is drum and bass. And it's a lot of fun to listen to. Like if you played Forza Horizon and didn't listen to the drum and bass and the electronic radio station for at least 50% of the time, in my mind, you didn't play the game wrong. But I did a lot of driving this past weekend, and I just threw on drum and bass, and it was like the perfect driving music, especially at night. But it got to a point where I was listening to it, and I was like, this sounds suspiciously close to dubstep. And I thought, I'll be damned if I get caught listening to dubstep in 2024.
Right.
But I think the difference is, and it's a slight difference, but it makes a big deal, is that like that persistent like beat that you get in drum and bass, like or, I'm not doing it right, but yeah. So drum and bass. I hope it's not a midlife crisis. I haven't done any ecstasy. Just to be clear, it's just
Dave,
just listen to the music.
you stole my joke right out from underneath me. I was gonna say like the style of music isn't the issue. But it's like to listen to a genre of music that has existed for a long time, but that you've never listened to at your age is kind of scary.
It's revolutionary, Dave.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
it's
love
good.
it.
It's really good.
I love it. I'm a house guy myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm an enjoyer of drum and bass as well.
Have you ever
But
tested out UK garage music?
probably
I think
unknowingly.
It's like house adjacent, but there's a really funny show on Netflix called People Just Do Nothing. It's
Okay.
about a pirate radio station. Chabadi
Okay.
G, you might recognize him, but it's about garage music and it's really funny. So yeah.
Okay. I see you.
Well,
Scallywags.
As people may or may not know, when I was in college and before that and a little after that, I did some DJing, and we did like your traditional birthday parties and some standard weddings and some school dances, whatever. But we also did a couple clubs and bars from time to time. And anytime I was like actually mixing music, not just playing stuff that people requested at a wedding or whatever, we used a lot of drum and bass for like the transition stuff. Because I don't think it's like it can be good club music, don't get me wrong, but it's really good for like mixing in the tempo between two songs. So there's a lot of versatility there, even though
Amen.
you're right about the whole dubstep thing, though, because I've thought that before. Like, what is it that separates this? And I think it's the ADHD-ness of dubstep that drum and bass doesn't quite have.
I don't think dubstep has that persistent beat. It's just sort of a lot of nonsense. But there are definitely similarities there.
It's like, here's all the sounds we could make.
Yeah,
Listen to them
Robot
all.
Sex music is pretty accurate. And don't get. I'll full disclosure. I loved dubstep for about 6 months when I was in my early 20s. Like a lot of people, but
I mean, that was right at the time of Skrillex.
He's still
Skrillex
really
and
popping off.
Deadmau5 and,
Yeah. It blew my mind when I realized who Skrillex was. His name is Sonny. He was in the band From First to Last, and I used to love From First to Last. I saw them multiple times, and then one day, who's now my brother-in-law was like, "You know who that is, don't you?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "That's Sonny." I was like, "No, it's not. There's no possible way this guy made that music and this music. It's impossible." But it's true, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what this show is all about, giving you the truth behind your favorite dubstep artist in real time. And next we're going to be talking about Skrillex's relationship with Ellie Goulding. But that's coming later at the bottom of the hour. I'm just going to transition this into like a full blown radio show. And at the bottom of the hour, we've got an expose on Skrillex's relationships. Women
but
have said he makes too many sounds, too many robot sounds in the bedroom.
Right. Too mechanical.
I had a buddy who always would say the most insane stuff, and most of it would never make sense. One of the things he would always say, he had a guitar. He was trying to learn to play it. He never really did, but he would just like put his fingers on like the top frets and then just strum the chords on like the very top fret and be like, "This is when the mosh pit happens." And then the other thing he would say was, anytime you would hear anything that had any form of an electronic beat, he was like, "This is where the sex happens." I was like,
True.
I guess, yeah,
True,
I guess.
true.
This is when babies get made. And I was like, okay,
That's right.
learn to play it, dude. Like, play some actual music. This is the HP podcast. We talk about video games most of the time. Just a little general tomfoolery, never hurt anybody. If you want to help support us, you can do so over at patreon.com/handsomephantom. You get every weekly show. We never miss a week. Sometimes, very rarely, we're a day off or something. We don't miss a week. Patreon.com/handsomephantom. You can sign up to support us for as little as $1 a month. Get all the shows ad-free and early. If you want to watch us live, you can do so Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. at Ben is Handsome on YouTube or at the Handsome Phantom channel. You can also catch us on free feeds Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Ben,
Yes.
I'd like to address something real quick before we get into our big story of the day.
Okay, please do.
Yeah,
think I
just
know.
quickly. You know, I said something on the show last week, fellas.
Do it.
that,
I'd fucking do it.
I'd like to address. You know, I'm deeply sorry for, and I just want to take a second.
Are you going to do better? Are you going to pledge to do better and write up like
hang
a
on, let
Twitter
me,
post?
So last week on the show, I said that, you know, if I was to play any other games from Remedy Entertainment, I would play Control, and I completely forgot to mention Quantum Break. So I just wanted to take
Okay.
a second to apologize to
That's-
Remedy and Sam
Good.
Lake and Sean Ashmore, of course, for just completely forgetting about Quantum Break. So
How could you?
yeah,
Inexcusable.
Yeah.
I feel better now. I feel better.
Yeah. I was last week after the show, I thought, man, there's something Dave said that he needs to apologize for. And here, thank you for that apology.
Yeah,
There's nothing else you said on the show last week that I think an apology is deemed necessary for.
yeah,
So,
agreed. That was it.
if you want to talk about Dave's apology and let him know that you accept it, you can do so at on our Discord, at handsomephantom.com/Discord. We like hanging out with you guys there, and we can really get into the Remedy verse with Dave and expose him to other things, making sure everything's above board there. You know, we wanna own our mistakes when we make them. So I appreciate that, Dave. Benji's just going crazy in the chat right now, saying
see it, honestly.
we're 2 minutes in and Dave is once again cooking. That was a little while ago. Appreciate that. And then also he appreciates your apology, Dave. It took a lot of courage. So we didn't get any comments about that, Dave. No one disagreed with you, by the way.
In fact, a lot of people said you were cooking, which, you know,
It's true.
let him cook. Somebody cooked here.
I'll put up a poll. Did Dave cook? Before the show started, I was like preparing the notes for the week, like I always do, and I was like, man, I'm sure I could scrape together some stuff. Oh, there's a new expose on this studio and how much people there suck, and there's like some rumors about Xbox, and Xbox managed to get a fighting game. I don't care. Okay. And I was like, you know what? I don't know what to talk about. And then all of a sudden, Twitter and Wario64 appeared on my feed and gifted me with the headline news story. PlayStation put it right in our laps. They did this just for the HP podcast since they knew we were going to record tonight. So let's talk about it. Concord is dead. Maybe, kind of. We'll talk about that more. Let's go ahead and go over to the PlayStation blog, and I'm just going to read this statement in full because it's a little wacky. Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your... Now, before I even really get started here, Concord fans, you could have just DM'd them.
Couple hundred. A couple hundred. BCC,
didn't have
them
to-
motherfuckers.
You didn't have to put up a PlayStation blog. You could have just sent them a DM. I think that would not have surpassed the spam filters in Gmail. I digress. Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC, and we want to thank everyone who has joined the journey aboard the North Star. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. However, while many of the qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6th, 2024, and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately, and we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game for PS5 or PC. If you purchase the game for PlayStation 5 from the PlayStation Store or PlayStation Direct, a refund will be issued back to your original payment method. Customers who purchased from other digital storefronts will also be refunded. More information about refunds from Steam and Epic can be found below. Other retailer and I won't read. It's basically just request a refund. Other retailer refunds for customers who have purchased a physical copy at a retailer location outside of PlayStation directly. Please refer to the refund process of the retailer you purchased it from to obtain your refund. Once refunded, players will no longer have access to the game. We'll keep you updated, and thank you again for all the free gunners who have joined us in the Concord Galaxy. By the way, your refunds from the PlayStation Store may take 1 to 2 months to show back up on your bank statement. Boys, there's very few, if any, specifically from PlayStation, instances of this happening. This is not just, a game was getting pre-orders, didn't do well enough, so they canceled it, or they made it free for PlayStation Plus users. That happened. That happened with Destruction All Stars. But people still paid for that game, and it's still operational. We've had games be canceled after they were fully pressed on a disc, like they had gone gold. We've had that happen before. We've had games shut down very quickly after they released, and of course, most of those have not provided refunds. Some of them have been free to play, but we've never had a game released and 2 weeks later just get shut down, and whether you want it or not, you are voluntarily forced to take a refund if you bought this game digitally. You no longer have access to it, whether you liked it or not, whether you played it or not. I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying it's unprecedented. But boys, before I really want to get into some minutia here, I want to hear your just general thoughts. Is this something you thought could happen this quickly? And how on earth did it not occur to them to do this before the game actually launched and be even more of an embarrassment? Dave, let's start with you.
We talked about Concord at length last week and probably the week before, and we saw the state that the game was in, and there was a lot of shit resonating from the game before it launched to suggest that it wasn't going to perform well for Sony. So with that said, I was very surprised last week to see how poorly it was performing, but I'm once again surprised this week because I didn't think this was going to happen. Not this soon. This is, as you said, Ben, unprecedented. So, I'm not surprised the game was received poorly, but to be received this poorly and then have this knee-jerk of a reaction from Sony is... I was blown away when I saw what I saw today. I do feel bad for the people who are playing this game because, as I said last week, by all accounts, there was people who kind of cut out the noise, the shit, and just said, "I'm going to play this game. I want to play this game. It looks good," and they were having a good time with it. So I feel for those people. I feel for the developers who ultimately have their fates tied to what Sony wants to do, but some of the developers at that studio did make some questionable decisions leading up to it, and the way they handled some of the constructive criticism that was coming their way. But yeah, I never would have thought that the plug would have been pulled this quickly. I thought it would have slowly and quietly died out. with little marketing and little fanfare, and maybe by March or April or something next year we'd be hearing about this, but not this quickly. This just, yeah, I never would have thought. I don't know, Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I knew this game was going to die. I actually called it last week. I didn't think it was going to quite be this soon. I can't wait tomorrow. I'm going to go out and try and get a copy of it. I'm going to buy it after closure. I really want this relic physically to be in my backlog, even if it's just plastic. Like, I'm going to go try and find it physical, and I bet I'll be able to. But yeah, I mean, hey, you live and you learn, I guess. But this is kind of a hard hit for Sony. I mean, this is their almost their live service go around this time. I feel like there were some other IPs that kind of got put on the back burner for this one to shine, and the fact that it is so monumentally failing, and not just failing, it's dead. It's completely dead. It's dead on arrival. 2 weeks is, it's just sad. I mean, it really is. If nothing else, fuck the business, really, but like, it's sad for everyone, every human involved with this, making it or playing it. It's sad. So to see anything in our medium have this sort of fall on their face moment is just, it sucks. It fucking sucks. And I'm sure it isn't worth what's happening to it, but the reality is between the execution and the fans' opinions, it's just the way it goes. So
I agree with Dave about, the people who are playing this were having a good time. And I've said many times I had a good time in the beta. I didn't think it was amazing or anything, but it was a fun game. I was having fun playing it. And if this game had been a free-to-play game, I can't guarantee you I would have paid for skins or anything, but I might have. But I definitely would have been playing it to some extent. Now, last weekend was the Call of Duty Black Ops beta. I played that. I probably would not have gone back to Concord. I don't know. But the point isn't would I have kept playing it. It's that I definitely would have checked it out and probably talked about it more. So I do think that for me was the big barrier there. And I really hate the idea of the race to the bottom, everything being free to play. But I just think when you're in that environment already, you gotta, if you're a vendor at a fair and everybody else around you is selling drinks for $5, you can't sell yours for $12 unless they're way better, right? So,
or people know you,
and you're famous, and they've
like,
already experienced
Right.
other drinks you've made in the past.
Exactly.
I want to get into the idea here. I've seen a lot of discourse today about, well, this is dead. They're just going to write it down, whatever. And that's certainly a possibility. I think that they could probably, there's certainly the possibility that they just say, okay, well, we're refunding everyone. That means we've made zero money on this game. We're going to use it as a tax write-off. We're going to offset some of our other expenses, whatever. But I don't know that that's what they're going to do. And maybe it is ultimately, but I want to focus in on something they say here. Ryan Ellis, the game director, says, while we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He also says, we've decided to take the game offline and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. It's really hard for me to believe that this game isn't going to come back somehow. It is obviously done right now, and maybe that's for a week, maybe that's for a month, maybe it's for 5 years. I really doubt it's for 5 years, but it's really, we've seen like Warner Brothers and Disney both do it with series that they've made and say, okay, we're going to scrap it, we're just refunding the money, or we're going to write it down, whatever, removing digital purchases, et cetera, et cetera. But most of those things did not take 8 years and hundreds of millions of dollars, presumably. Like, it's not a huge studio, but it's not a small one. And guaranteed it cost, I'd say minimum $150 million to make this game. Minimum. And that's if they were getting a little bit underpaid for 8 years. Now, I don't know if that 8 years means the first time someone wrote the idea on a napkin at a bar, or if that means they actually sat down in pre-production. I don't know. But the developers themselves said 8 years. They've been paying someone for 8 years. They marketed this game for a year. They took up a lot of bandwidth and missed other opportunities they could have taken for this game. Right. PlayStation bought them, took a chance on them. Somebody Jim Ryan is gone maybe for a reason we're looking at. But I want to see what you guys think. What could be some other opportunities for them to bring this game back? Because I think they're going to. It's just, what are they going to do differently? What possible thing they could do differently to this game to potentially not lose their entire wardrobe, let alone their shirt? Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I agree with you. It would make sense for something to come back. Honestly, though, guys, I don't know what they could possibly do to make it better. First, make it free. I guess. I guess that would be a start. But as far as a lot of the other major complaints, I don't know that you're gonna like completely revolutionize or like change your game. If you've spent 8 years developing something, how disjointed will that thing be then when you try and completely pivot it after 8 years and a failure? I want it to be something new. I want it to be something good. I want it to survive because it's time, it's money, it's effort, it's people's love. It's their concepts, their babies. People did enjoy this game generally. The people that did play it obviously liked it. There was a very, very, very small Twitch community forming around it, but there was people playing it. I popped into the category every once in a while, and there was people streaming it, albeit not very many. But so I want it to come back. I'm kind of at a loss as to what it would do to better itself when it's so like the ideas it had were like cemented. I mean, you could change the look of it, right? People were critical of how the characters looked. But like, how much could you possibly change about this game that would make it just a completely new game? And maybe that's the idea. Maybe they just need to make it something completely different. But then again, like, how much more development cost will they be willing to put into it after it's already failed so miserably? It's like, a failed startup business. You're putting more money into it to relaunch it, to maybe start it up again for it to fail again. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't have a good idea. I really don't. I'm kind of at a loss here.
Dave, what about you? What do you think are even potential options for them?
Yeah, I think the most obvious one is do some refinements, add a battle pass with paid cosmetics and put it back out as free to play. And that's the first thing that came to my head. It was like, that's the only path forward to at least salvage something. But then Anthem 2.0 popped in my head. And I remember how much we were getting about Anthem 2.0, and there was developers and game directors who were like giving us like details about what Anthem 2.0 was going to look like. And then EA just shut it all down. So until I see it, I won't believe it. And I mean, kind of taking a step back, I think gamers are kind of speaking now. And this is a year where we've seen Stellar Blade, a brand new IP, do really, really well. And another game called Black Myth Wukong, new IP, do really, really well. And in that same year, you've had established IP in the Suicide Squad, which is games as a service, fall on its face, and this. So, I don't know. Maybe Sony will look at this and pivot and realize that, like, the single player experience is not dead, and people will pay full price day one for that. And I know you're seeing the dollars and cents that like that Fortnite is bringing in and Warzone brought in, and it's like we've just had so many failures and so few successes that I really hope that Sony doesn't, plug their ears on this one. And I don't know, Jade Raymond's got to be really nervous today because Fair Games did not have a good reception when it was shown off earlier this year or late last year. And apparently Marathon's also in trouble. So like Sony has a lot of money invested in games as a service outside of Concord. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they just cut bait on this and we really don't see it again. But if they did, I think, a fleshed out battle pass and free to play would really be the only changes they need to make, and they could get this thing back up and running by the end of the year. I don't think you'd want to. I think you'd want to wait until January or February. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if Sony just walks away from it because gamers are speaking, and these games as a service are failing a lot more than they are succeeding. So,
yeah, I think that's true, but I think even the ones who are doing mediocre are still making a pile of money. You have the few, the very few that are just pulling in money like crazy. They're just making lots of money. And I'm talking AAA here. You only have a few. You've got a lot of smaller ones that are, look at Deep Rock Galactic. Like, there's no way those guys are well, they're probably rolling in dough, but they're not pulling in hundreds of thousands or millions of players a week, but they're certainly doing well enough to continue being a studio. You look like you look at other games similar to that size, and like I don't know that it's that people don't want games as a service.
No, they
There's
do.
just
Yeah, they do.
yeah, they do, and they're willing to take a chance on newer stuff. Again, like Deep Rock Galactic, just to use that as an example. But that's the exception that proves the rule, I think, right? Like there aren't a lot. There's a lot more that have failed than have taken off, I think.
Right.
And I think single player is important to many people. I know plenty of people who won't play multiplayer at all. But if you can hit it with the live service stuff, you hit it. There's a reason though. Like the Firewalk and Concord, they put out like, we're not doing a battle pass. We're not, they were very insistent. Like that was supposed to be a good thing. And I think to the commentators, to those of us who are already invested in 2 or 3 other games, that is a good thing. But like, there's a reason why those battle passes do so well, because people want to grind things. People want to go and invest their time in something and get cool stuff because of it. And when you say basically like, you're getting everything up front, we're not going to charge you a dime for anything. I think they did have some paid cosmetics maybe. Or maybe that they were working on doing that. But I just don't know how you don't read the writing on the wall. Like, okay, we're going to make a live service game that we're not going to charge anyone for extra. Why? People want that incentive. They want to see the progression. And I'm not saying that's a good thing for the industry. In fact, it probably is a bad thing overall for the long term. Clearly, it was a bad thing for Concord that's the precedent, right? Because Concord in 2013 probably would have been a great game. Even during the original Overwatch craze, if it had come out around that same time, it probably would have done well. Overwatch was a full-price game, or nearly a full-price game. So I don't think it's that people don't want it. It's that they want the right kind. And this was not the right kind. And past that, I don't really know, because, like, I could see this game going poorly. I could see any live service game that comes out going poorly. There's estimates that they maybe sold 25,000 copies. Maybe. It's a first-party game with first-party support, marketing, and advertising. It got sponsored streams. Like, it had every chance in the world to succeed. It was good quality, too. Like, when I played the beta, I didn't notice a lot of issues with it. I never really saw anybody trash the game's mechanics or the way it ran. Just they didn't want to play the game. It wasn't that the gameplay was bad. I don't understand the anomaly with this game, because like, it had good markings on it, it had good feedback, but nobody wanted to play it. And I don't really get it. Like, it's a weird. I understand it because I didn't want to play it.
Right.
But that wasn't necessarily because of anything specific, other than that, like, sorry, I've got other games to play that aren't $40 with no incentives after that. So I don't know. But I think that there's a good chance they bring it back in some way, shape, or form. Even if they use, I don't know. They probably got to put in some new modes. They've got to do some sort of battle pass. I wonder who the insistence came from that they not do a live service actual model. Was that from Firewalk or was that from Sony? Well, obviously Sony had to sign off if it was Firewalk, and obviously Firewalk had to do it if it was Sony, but I just wonder where that like idea came from, that we're going to do a live service game without the main live service element that makes games make money. I don't know. That's a major pitfall, obviously. Radix says, Push Square just posted an editorial about how Herman Hulst should be on the hot seat. Jim Ryan will get a lot of the directed anger, but Herman was the one who sought out Firewalk and Bungie. And that's true. I mean, ultimately, I'm sure it was Herman Hulst, but the reality is that the buck stops with the CEO or whatever Jim Ryan's title was. So even if Herman Hulst went for it, Jim Ryan signed off on it. So ultimately, of course, I mean, he's not there anymore, but he would get the main poke in the eye. But I'm sure Herman Hulst had something to do with it, and he'll probably get more internal heat than external for sure. Benji says, look at the BattleBit game from last year. You don't need to spend a lot of money to make a live service game that attracts an audience. That's true. But I think that is another exception that proves the rule, right? Like, BattleBit was fun. It did kind of die a little bit quickly. Not quickly, but quickly in comparison to a lot of other stuff. I'm sure those developers are perfectly happy with the money they made. But BattleBit was super cheap. It was super lo-fi, and it was fun. But that doesn't make it a commercial success in the AAA space from one of the largest publishers in the world. If Sony put out BattleBit, I don't know that it would have done as well. You know, I think it was because it was a cheap indie game that was like, wow, this game is blowing up, and it had cool clips, and most of that was user generated because it was about the help me brother, I'm dying, you know, I got a wife, I got a family, like those little clips that you'd hear from other players. But that was another game that, yeah, it's one of those that kind of prove the rule or it's the exception that proves the rule. Alex Dies Twice says, isn't it shocking that both Outriders and this that gloated about not being a live service both flopped?
I'll not hear any negative talk about Outriders on this show.
Outriders did phenomenally better than what's the name of the game that got canceled? Concord. Wow.
There you
I'm
go,
like,
dude. I mean,
dude,
come
it's like
on,
Back
dude.
to the Future where
That's
Marty's
what it
looking at
is,
the picture
bro.
of his siblings and they're just disappearing, and I'm like, that's like what happened to my brain with the name of Concord just now.
It's just so easily forgettable.
Oh man.
It's gone before it started.
Yeah, I don't know, boys. It'll be interesting, and it'll be interesting to see where they go with Concord, and it'll be interesting to see their next live service game.
Fair games.
I would not doubt that Fair Games gets a major halt and either canceled or dramatically reworked and rebooted, because I don't know if that game's going to be fun or not, but like it got a bad reception. And in the past, game companies have been like, we're still going to put it out. And, you know, most of the time they've done okay. This game got a bad reception, and it did not do well. So will they learn from that? And, we have more of a voice in retail, in games, whatever, than ever before with social media. And, yeah, there's a lot of bad actors out there, don't get me wrong. But you got to pay attention a little bit to the chatter, right? You got to take that into consideration. Ben's brain refunded Concord.
It's
There's been a lot
washed.
of there's been a lot of discussion about the secret level episode with Concord, because that was in that trailer. They'll scrap that, in my opinion. I have to imagine they'll scrap that.
Be
Or
ballsy if they didn't. What if they already made it?
I mean, it could be a really great movie, show, episode, whatever, about a game. And I don't know that their main target is obviously gamers, but like they want it to reach further than that, right?
Right.
So like you could watch a fantastic animated episode about Concord, but the game be totally trash or non-existent in this case.
Dude, just like Overwatch, the shorts are great, but the game sucks dick.
You know good and well you love that game.
I loved Overwatch 1
Now, why did you stop liking Overwatch after 6 years?
because Overwatch 2 came out.
Correct. Right. It wasn't because Overwatch got bad. It was because they screwed themselves.
They changed it, man.
Yeah. Guys, anything else to talk about with Concord?
No, man.
Or is the
sad to
horse
see.
dead already?
What is that guy's name? That spiky guy, the new head of the PlayStation. Jim, what's his name?
The new Jim Ryan?
No. The main guy's name.
Herman Hulst?
Herman Hulst?
Thank you, Radek would know.
Lennox.
Lennox.
You said
yes.
who's the new Jim Ryan guy? How was I supposed to know you met the guy in the video game that just got canceled?
Dude, that's Lennox. He's my boy. He's my boy. He's the next Nathan Drake. Thank you, Radek.
If he doesn't make it into PlayStation All Stars 2, there's going to be hell to pay.
That's what I'm saying.
Guys, let's talk about this next one. Where's this thing? Here we go. This comes from Gamatsu.com. Says Annapurna and Remedy Entertainment announce a partnership on Control 2, adapting Control and Alan Wake for film and TV. Let's go. Annapurna has announced a partnership with Remedy Entertainment to co-produce and co-finance the development of Control 2, as well as develop and produce the Alan Wake and Control franchises for film, television, and other audio-visual formats. Remedy Entertainment will still publish Control 2 itself and is currently working full steam ahead on the sequel. Further information about the game is still a while out, however. We're super excited to get Annapurna on board, said Remedy Entertainment creative director Mikhail Mikhail K. And Control franchise executive producer in a press release. Annapurna's creative values align perfectly with ours, making them an inspiring partner for the journey ahead. We at Remedy have been working on Concord 2, oh my god, Control 2 for a while already. It's looking amazing, and we feel Annapurna is the perfect partner to work with as the game development is moving forward, etc., etc. Sam Lake added, I'm absolutely thrilled by this opportunity to expand the story of Alan Wake and our whole Remedy connected universe to mediums beyond games and to build all this in close collaboration, games, film, TV, and other mediums as well as one unified vision. Boys, I probably could be more excited about that. The only way I could be more excited about this is if they were like, hey, we work together and here it is now. Shadow drop it. But I'm really excited about this. I love the Remedy universe. I think Annapurna makes fantastic stuff. Obviously, they've transcended multiple mediums at this point, and I think the two are just weird enough to make something beautiful. It's not like when you see those two weirdos in high school and you're like, that's gonna be an ugly baby. This is different than that. This is gonna be a pretty baby. That's also weird. Dave, you're right now in the thick of Remedy. How do you feel about this?
I think this is a match made in heaven. Annapurna has always kind of had a knack for artistic storytelling on a pretty small budget. Thinking of games like Stray and Neon White and Outer Wilds. I think they did the Pathless too.
Yeah.
And I think about Outer Wilds specifically and what I'm playing right now in Alan Wake, and I'm just like, man, these two they're perfect for each other. They're going to make that hot baby, as you said.
Mm-hmm. Digital Foundry may be interested.
I also think that gaming crossovers into film and television are on kind of a hot streak right now. So I think they're striking while the iron is hot. And I'm really happy to see that Annapurna is getting a shot to, in my opinion, punch a little bit above their weight class, because they always, to me, were kind of in that realm of like medium-sized indie studios, and now they're being brought into the limelight a little bit more, and they've really earned it. So also, having just experienced my first Remedy game in Alan Wake, I am stoked to see anything from Remedy on the big screen or even the small screen. So I know Alan Wake is one of the ones they've been talking about, so I'm really excited to see what they do with that in film or television format. So yeah, this is a great little relationship that we're seeing blooming here, and I hope we get to see all of Remedy's creations in film or television, including Quantum Break. Technically Quantum Break already had a shot, because when the game launched, they had like that companion TV show, which I don't think that went over too well, but we'll see.
I think that's because we weren't ready for it yet. Like, it was good. It's just we didn't know it.
Before its time,
Yeah. Brandon, I know you're a big Annapurna fan as far as both their games and their media stuff. I mean, what we've got, Killing Them Softly, we've got Zero Dark 30, American Hustle, Her. Did you say Her?
Yeah, Spring Breakers.
Spring Breaker? I don't remember Spring Breakers. Yeah. Anyway,
they got all kinds
Buster
of
Scruggs. Like, they've done a lot of stuff that has not, it's gone under the radar, but it's been good. Like, mostly good. Anyway, how do you feel about the collaboration, and what do you want to see? As someone who you personally, I know, hate Alan Wake and Control, and you will not play them because you don't know how good games and you don't care about narratives. But other than that, how do you feel about it?
So I'm a huge Annapurna fan. I enjoy a lot of their games. Like Dave said, I think he kind of hit it right on the head. They have an eye for talent. They have an eye for art style. They have an eye for aesthetic. And I've said this for fucking years. They were always good to us at PAX East. I loved previewing their games. And their films are no different. Their films are, albeit maybe not the largest successful films, but some of them have broke through quite a bit. Her gained a ton of buzz. A lot of the movies you mentioned gained a ton of buzz. So yeah, I think this is a match made in heaven. Like truly, I think they're both quirky studios. I didn't care much for Control myself, and it's because of me. I will say that. I need to go back and give it a go. Dave's talked very highly of his time with a Remedy game recently, and it did make me think about going back and playing Control, and maybe even playing Alan Wake. Alan Wake might be a little bit slow for my taste, the first one. I can't say that with certainty. I need to talk to the boys after the show about that. But I do think aesthetically, not only does Annapurna have the look, but Remedy has the look. They have the ideas. They have the weirdness. And so even if I wouldn't be a fan of playing Remedy's games, I think I would be a fan of sitting and watching something that is made by Remedy, because I think the stories are good. And, even though I'm not always there to be held enough to play a game, I usually can make it through a movie. You know what I mean? I usually can make it through a TV show. So, yeah, I think this is wonderful, and I'm really excited that they kind of partnered up, because this is going to be good. It's going to be great. It's going to be really good for Alan Wake. And, with the way the Alan Wake 2 went, I think this series is just continuing to get bigger. So this is great.
It's so perfect because Remedy keeps all the IP for their stuff. Annapurna puts their cinematic fingers all through the pie.
Ooh.
Oh, my God. And
say that again.
and the thing about Remedy games is they're already so deeply entrenched in story that I could really see Annapurna turning these into either series or anthologies. If you could do something set in the Alan Wake universe. Well, first of all, you've already got then both Control and Alan Wake in that universe, and many other things that I won't really get into. And you could just spin off so many stories out of those, and I think it'd be a great anthology. I also think just straight up developing here's the story of Alan Wake, and doing that as a series itself would be awesome. So yeah, I'm very hopeful for this collaboration for sure. Poot says, I couldn't care less about the adaptations, but Annapurna and Remedy is a great creative partnership. I could care less about the collaborations, because when I love a story, I want to experience it in multiple different ways. That's the biggest reason for me, is if there's a really good video game, don't we all go and we're oh, let's play the remaster. Let's see how the definitive edition is. Let's play the sequel.
Absolutely. Dude, what happened when the Fallout TV series went up? You know what I mean? It literally happens every single time. The Last of Us, it's just Mortal Kombat, the old games skyrocket. Halo. No, I don't know about that. Master Chief does fuck, though. I learned that. That's all I care about.
I think the funny thing is that any of us had a doubt about Master Chief,
Well,
we did. It wasn't canonical, but we knew.
Yeah, he's not supposed to, but the fact that he does actually, and he has an ass cheek or two.
He's got two great ass cheeks.
Confirmed.
Come on, we knew that John 117 had a great ass.
I mean,
no doubt there.
You can't fit in that suit if you don't.
It's kind of like you breathe and there's oxygen, but sometimes if you could see it, that'd be better. That's kind of like Master Chief's ass. It's it's going to be great, but sometimes you do want to see it just to be sure. You know what I mean?
Imagine how much fear there would be in your life if you could see oxygen. Because, there's a point where you're man, there's a lot of oxygen in that room. Or, what if there's not enough? You're
dude,
am I going to be okay?
Amazing. Dude, I'd feel so good. I would walk into that room instantly. I'm oh my God,
look
at the O2 levels in this bitch.
Maybe the oxygen being too much isn't a thing, but, if you saw a room and it was oh, there's a little spot of oxygen not filling that part of the room, am I going to be okay if I go in there? Dude, that introduced a whole new anxiety, I think.
That's superhuman abilities. That would be my super ability, would be chronic anxiety.
Yeah. Some people believe that many years ago there was more oxygen on the planet.
Whoa.
Way, way back. They have, when they rebuild skeletons and stuff, they're like, this person was larger than normal, and they probably
Trees.
had more oxygen. It's probably trees, ozone, and also a little bit of myth mixed in there. But
Meth.
definitely, I said meth, not myth. Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
okay.
Let's go on to the worst quote of the week somehow. Eurogamer says Xbox boss Phil Spencer has admitted he's made, quote, the worst decisions, passing on some of gaming's biggest franchises over the years, including Bungie's Destiny and Harmonix's Guitar Hero. In an interview called Storytime with Phil Spencer at PAX West over the weekend, Spencer opened up about the games that mattered most to him over the years, including Bungie's 2014 sci-fi shooter Destiny in his list. Quote, there's so many mixed emotions and stories for me around Destiny, Spencer explained. Obviously, Bungie was part of Microsoft when I started at Xbox, and I shared a floor with Alex Seropian and Jason Jones in the building that we were in Redmond. I learned a ton just from being around Bungie. Despite his natural closeness to Bungie, Spencer admitted that Destiny didn't really click when he first played it, and it took until the game's first expansion, House of Wolves, for it to land him. Consequently, Destiny went to be published by Activision, as too was Guitar Hero, another series Spencer passed on, thinking it wasn't going to work. I passed on some of the worst, made some of the worst game choice decisions, he said. There's a lot more here, but I want to talk a little bit about this. One, personally, I think that, if anybody pretends like they saw Destiny in the very early stages and was like, oh, this is going to be huge for the next decade and a half, you're probably lying. I think Activision probably just, they took a gamble. It paid off. Two, how do you say this? How do you say these words? I'm an idiot. How do you say that? And expect to be taken seriously? Whether it's true or not, whether I actually blame him for those decisions or not, or I probably wouldn't have taken a gamble on that either. Who knows? And then three, is this why Phil wanted to buy Activision? Just so he could redeem himself and get those franchises he got back? I don't know. Dave, go off.
Go off. I'm afraid I won't be cooking here, but
Yeah, it's fine.
yeah, I don't think you get to a position where Phil is in without taking a few L's along the way. And I like Phil. I always have. I like that he's humble and a little bit self-deprecating in this case, and that he's willing to talk about these things, because there's a lot that probably wouldn't talk about this stuff. And Alex in our chat just said Phil talks too much. I also agree with that, because he's kind of on a hot seat right now in my mind. So I do think the timing of this story time with Phil is a bit odd, but yeah. And just kind of building on what you said, Ben, about Destiny. I really doubt that there was that many people who could have foreseen the peripheral boom of the late 2000s that came with Guitar Hero. Because that's a tough sell, saying that, people are going to buy this peripheral and it's going to be good quality and it's not going to break and everybody's going to want it. So, I'm not surprised that he passed on Guitar Hero. Right. But yeah, again, I think it's cool that he's willing to talk about this. But I'm wondering when he's going to have the story time with Phil that he tells everybody that he's very embarrassed about greenlighting Redfall. Because I'm sure he's responsible for that. But yeah, again, the timing of this is a bit odd.
Did he really greenlight Redfall? Wasn't that already in production? Okay, I get what you're saying, but
it's just like the Herman Hulse thing. Is he responsible for Concord? I mean, he was around, but we'll never know. But that I wouldn't forgive him for. But Guitar Hero and Destiny, it's okay, because you got Activision in the end. You got the pretty girl at the end of the night.
I'm just looking at something here. I'm looking at SteamDB just because I'm curious. Come on, I don't need to verify I'm human every time, do I? Really?
Brandon, did you have Guitar Hero first or Rock Band first?
I think I had Guitar Hero first. I think that's what most people had first.
I think it came out first.
Yeah.
It did, but I think a lot of people jumped in with Rock Band, which I didn't, just because it was way too much crap.
Right. No, it definitely was. I guess Phil's a bit of a real one for being this unshamedly forward. I mean, this isn't the first time that he's kind of been real in the past couple years where it doesn't seem like he's afraid to just kind of like say some things as a CEO that I don't know that I personally would say. I guess it's kind of cool that Microsoft allows him to be this real. But it's kind of cool to see the human side of these big figureheads. I don't know that it does the best things for his career, and that we're talking about it right now because he's saying it. I don't know that it's good overall, but I think it is cool to see, the fact that companies would let people in this, type of privilege, this type of power to just speak their mind about something they've made mistakes on.
I think Microsoft probably forgets Xbox exists 4 out of 5 days, though, in fairness.
Yeah, you're probably right.
At
this point, they're like, is Game Pass still up? They're like,
Yeah.
all right, we're
Yeah.
good.
How many billions we
Phil?
make today? Oh, we're good? Okay, that's fine.
Mr. Spencer, okay, Game Pass still up. Thank you.
I just wanted to let you know, Dave, I'm sure you'd be happy to know this, that Redfall currently has less players than Concord. By Concord on Steam has 45 and Redfall has 18. So
I think the reason Concord has so many players right now is because people are trying to play it before it goes away.
So
I
I
saw-
thought the same thing, Brandon, but I checked, and Concord has 400 viewers right now on Twitch. So there's no boom coming.
no,
No, dude.
Not even a little tick.
Run it
Here's
back.
what
As you mentioned
here's what
earlier,
is
some
happening.
people are going to buy the physical just to have that because it's going to be a relic soon. But yeah, people just
Like
don't care.
Greedfall.
Yeah.
Dude, I have it, yeah.
Yeah. The thing I saw earlier today, I think I saw both Radic tweeted out and Gene that I work with tweeted out that people right now are just trying. I don't know if I don't even know what the trophies are in Concord. I think it's experience points or kills or something. I don't know. People are just running as soon as the match starts towards the edge of the map and jumping off to end the match faster so they can get more experience because people are trying to get the platinum before the game goes away.
Wow.
It's crazy. That's awesome.
It's kind of hilarious.
The Concord Memorial Wake, yes. All right, boys, let's talk about what we have been playing. And I'll go first, I think. Well, I'm just going to mention one thing, and then I'll chime in on one of Brandon's things. I've been playing a lot more Hunt Showdown this week. Not as much as I'd like to. I really, really want to play this game. I want to go pro in Hunt Showdown. That's not a thing, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to be the first pro player in Hunt Showdown. It's not even a competitive game, really, but it is sweaty, but it's not competitive. I'm just having so much fun with this game, and it's not even like that it's scratching the extraction shooter itch as much as I think it's like, I'm a cowboy. Like, I think that's more or I'm an outlaw, whatever. Like, that's more the appeal to me right now. But I'm just learning so much more about it and been playing with people who have been playing consistently for, 4 to 6 years, something like that. And just having a good old time with it. And I'm going away this weekend for work. And then next week, I'm hoping to dive more into some Hunt and hopefully get some other buddies in with me that maybe haven't played the game in a long time or ever. I really can't stand that someone's adding Linux to the Google Drive and I can just see it appearing on my side screen. The Google Sheet.
We have the wall legends here.
We really do. Yeah. But anyway, Hunt Showdown. I've just been enjoying it. I really haven't played a whole lot else besides the Black Ops beta, which Brandon is going to talk about now, and I'll chime in when I can. Brandon,
Yeah.
I want you to talk about this game in a way that I can't. I want you to be specific and detailed.
Oh, I'll try.
Brandon, cook.
Yeah, I'll try. It's been good. It's been really good so far. I feel like they have added quite a bit to the game. The Omni movement is very interesting. It's a little bit more in depth than I thought it was going to be. Having seen the previews, I don't think it really does it quite the justice that actually feeling it does, and like actually experiencing it. I'd be really interested for you to try it at some point, Dave, because I feel like it is pretty interesting. The whole dive while shooting mechanic and the being able to just turn your body the entire way around while laying down very quickly is really, really cool. And it plays out exceptionally well. I can't believe that this is kind of the first iteration of this type of movement system that we've had, albeit we've had a lot, but nothing quite like this. So it fits really well. I feel like it is something that will have a little bit of a higher skill ceiling than some of the other Call of Duties have had, just because it is like a further layer of gameplay that kind of takes the gameplay up a little bit and makes it a little deeper. We played a couple different types of modes. They've actually added stuff even over the weekend. I know it's kind of like a weekend beta, open close beta, but it ran Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it was a lengthy sumbitch. I don't know why they did it like that, but yeah, the guns feel really good. They're punchy. The maps look great. It definitely plays like a Black Ops game. I don't know how to describe it to anyone because I've been playing these games for so long, but like the Infinity Ward games and the Treyarch games just play different. Like it's a feel, man. Like it really is a feel, and it feels like a Treyarch game. So that's really good. Honestly, aside from the guns and the maps in the modes, I mean, there is a new game mode. There's one called the HVT. It's kind of interesting. One person on your team gets to play as like a high-value target with plates, and then the rest of the team essentially has to protect that person, and you have to go kill the enemy's high-value target. So I didn't really like it at first just because I'm like adverse to change, but I kind of am getting into it as time goes on. So
It's basically protect the president. It's just not round-based.
right, exactly. So I'll be really interested to see how they continue to change things. I feel like some of the balancing might be a little bit off as usual. A lot of the attachments in this Call of Duty seem to not do negatives. They seem to only do positives, which is different because in a lot of the other games, especially the past two, I feel like the attachment systems have been like super, super bogged down and super extensive. And we've not seen the entirety of all the attachments, I don't think, or, obviously all the guns, all the systems, but I'd like that it's been simplified slightly. It feels a little bit less daunting than the past two. I will say that. I don't know if Ben agrees with that, but
Do you think that it's that they actually don't do negatives or that they just aren't in the game yet? Like, I can't imagine they're like, all of the attachments give you a positive and there's no detriment to using them.
I feel like the less up and downs you have in skills, the easier it will be to balance for the developer. If everything doesn't do an up and a down, I'm sure that makes it easier numbers wise to keep things on a good space. I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I just feel like if they were like, hey, no longer do you have to worry about what attachments bring your gun down. You only get to pick between the features that you want for your gun. I feel like that'd be a marketing thing for them. They would have talked about that, I feel like.
Well, that's just the thing is, that's what I'm saying is weird about it, is so a lot of the attachments don't do negatives, but the late game attachments that give you the biggest bonuses do. So I think that might be the trade-off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people are obviously already sweaty as fuck. That's just kind of the way these games go. There was a game mode they added yesterday, I think, Monday or Sunday. It's two very, very close range maps that I am just eating up. I love the shoot houses. I love the shipments. So I'm loving that shit. Honestly, that to me is like how you like get cracked out. Like how you get cracked at Fortnite is playing those game modes. Like I had played that all day yesterday, and then we had switched to normal game modes, and I feel like I was on 10. like I feel like my reaction time was on 10 because I was so used to playing these itty bitty maps forever that I was just turning on motherfuckers. So yeah, it's cool, man. It's really, really cool. I'm excited for Warzone. I'm sure they'll find a way to botch it somehow. The Treyarch campaigns are always super duper solid, at least the ones that I've played in the past 5 or 6 years. So yeah, all around, very, very, very hot on this, especially after the weekend. I know this is kind of how it usually goes for me. But I don't know. I'm feeling like exceptionally warm on this so far. Like I said, I do think there is many, many opportunities for them to fuck this up somehow, as they usually do. But Ben, thoughts? What haven't I covered?
I agree with you for the most part. A lot of the stuff you said, things I would have said as well. I'm not as excited about Warzone just because it got so sweaty so fast last time that I played Warzone. Like when the original Warzone came out, you and I played it day one. It was with Modern Warfare when it came out, and we had a good time. And we used to win for the first year it was out. We won all the time, and then something happened, and it just became like insane. I think just the meta entirely shifted. People started flying after people rather than just like doing their own thing, and it just became a a different game than I was interested in playing for a while. But anyway, I'll still play it. I'll still try it out, of course. The biggest thing that I have a problem with, I agree with a lot of your positives here. I don't know if Modern Warfare 3 was like this because I didn't play it. I don't feel like it was this bad in Modern Warfare 2. Obviously, this is a different developer to some extent. They're all working together, but the aim assist is more noticeable in this Black Ops beta than I have ever noticed aim assist in anything I've ever played. It is absolutely absurd. And you watch someone, like you get a kill cam and you watch them, and we've all seen videos of hackers and how they play in Call of Duty games. That's what the aim assist looks like to me. Like, it's that strong. And that turns people like me off. Because I mean, I'm pretty decent with a mouse and keyboard. But I don't know how you compete. Like, I can hit every shot, but I'm hitting them like in the upper chest and maybe a couple in the torso. They shoot at me and they're hitting all of them square on directly between the eyeballs because the controller moves them there. And I don't know how you combat that as a player. Because used to, they added aim assist because people weren't as good. They didn't feel like they could be competitive with mouse and keyboard players. And it was true to a large extent. I think there should be some aim assist. But it just feels like the aim assist has been turned up to 11 right now. And it's... Yeah. I forget skill-based matchmaking, nerf aim assist. Like, it's killing me.
Yeah, they've been saying that. That argument's actually in the past 3 Call of Duties has just really, really kicked up. I want to report back on it, and I want to see more, but I've seen some really mixed reportings on this year's aim assist. I've seen reports that some of the options that were previously available have been taken away, so there's less options for aim assist. So I'm seeing it both ways. I'm seeing what you're saying, Ben, where people are saying it's way up. I'm seeing other people say it's way down. I don't know if that's controller or mouse and keyboard propaganda on either way, but I want to see more. But I generally agree with you, though. Generally.
I just did one little study the other night. This was 2 nights ago. After everybody was done, I was just kind of like fuming to myself about how much I had died in the matches we had just played to what I felt was aim assist. And I'm like watching kill cams and everything, like I said. So I have my PlayStation controller sitting here. I have my Xbox controller sitting here at my desk. And I was like, you know what? I haven't played a shooter with a controller since Modern Warfare 2019. And even after that, I switched to PC and did mouse and keyboard. I plugged in my controller, ran just a very casual match, had no real, was just trying to learn what the buttons did because it's been so long since I played one. When I played on mouse, and then I played another match after that, which was my actual one where I was trying. The last match I played, my average on the matches I'm playing on Team Deathmatch in Black Ops 6 on mouse and keyboard, I'm getting like between 20 and 30 kills. Team Deathmatch, mouse and keyboard, 20 to 30 kills. I plugged in the controller, and on my second match with the controller, I had 56 kills in the Team Deathmatch. Without touching a controller for a first-person shooter in almost 5 years. That wasn't skill on my part. I'm not going to pretend like it was. So I definitely think it's making a difference for sure.
Sure.
In average people who are decent at games, it's making a huge difference on how they're actually being competitive or not. And I know I could just plug in a controller and play that way too. But I think even for controller versus controller players, it's bad because there's more kills happening and less skill involved with actually aiming. Even with a controller. So that's just my little rant.
Fair enough. That's actually all I've been playing. So.
Yeah. Dave, what you got, honey buns?
I've got a few things. Alan Wake, I finished the game yesterday. I haven't finished the 2 DLCs yet. But yeah, I really enjoyed Alan Wake. As I said last week, though, I think I'm more looking forward to playing the second one just because of modern production standards, and I think that is really important to a game like this. But I like the way the story wrapped up. It was a cool little cliffhanger. And normally I'd be happy to kind of move away and play something else, but I am actually looking forward to playing the 2 DLCs. I understand they're pretty short, the Signal and the Writer, just to get some more context, which from what I understand is quite important to kind of the story and playing the second one. So
American
yeah.
Nightmare is not included with it, right?
No, but
Okay.
that's like a horde mode or something, isn't it?
No. There is hordes in it, but
Okay. I thought
It's
it
not a
was
horde mode.
more about kind of gameplay combat.
I think there's some disagreement on whether or not it's canonical at this point. So you probably don't need to play it.
Yeah,
It's good, but I wouldn't insist on it.
And it was funny because I read about it and then I finished the game, and when I read about it I was like, why would you have like kind of a combat gameplay focus chunk of game added on, and then I finished the end of the game where, you know, the game throws a lot more enemies at you, and I'm like, okay, I can see how this would kind of translate well into something that focused a little bit more on the shooting and the and stuff like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed Alan Wake, and I'm really looking forward to playing more in the near future. As I posted today in the Discord chat, I popped the platinum. I am the only person in our Discord and on the Handsome Phantom family that has the platinum. I'm the pirate legend, Ben. How do you feel about that?
Hey.
I
If the
got
trophy's
platinum.
not called that, you're not that.
I got the platinum for Skull and Bones, and yeah, it was just they updated the game a little while ago, and it was a pretty satisfying platinum because all I had to do was log into the game, and it boom, and the trophy that was bugged popped, and then the platinum popped. So
Hell
it's
yeah.
pretty cool. The annoying part is, though, I don't know if you guys remember, but when I was going for the platinum, there was one really grindy trophy where I had to get 10,000 pieces of jute. Apparently that trophy was changed. So if I had waited, I wouldn't have needed to grind as much as I did. But at least I can say that I got the Skull and Jute trophy pre-nerf. So yeah.
Only real ones remember.
I did need PS Plus to log in, and
I was just
the
going to
reason
ask about that.
Yeah, the reason I got PS Plus was so I could play Quidditch Champions today. Just launched today, free on PS Plus, $40 if you're not getting on PS Plus. I can't talk about it too much because really all I've done is the tutorial, which is quite lengthy. Because I don't know about you guys, but if you asked me about Quidditch before today, I could tell you what a Seeker does, and I could see the game being played, but I couldn't tell you all the positions and what everybody does. So I needed the tutorial to kind of understand what the positions did and stuff like that. So it is lengthy, but it needs to be. So I played through that. It's fun. I will say that the flight controls don't feel as good as they did in Hogwarts Legacy, but I don't think that's a fault of the development team. I just think that's an inherent quality of this game because you're flying around in a much tighter area. And you need a lot more controls. You need controls for like body checking and passing, and there's like drifting and stuff like that, so that you can turn on a dime. So yeah, I mean, but getting through the tutorial, I'm really looking forward to playing more and actually playing matches against other people and with other people because I think it's fun so far. I think there's 4 different positions you can play as. You can play as the Seeker. You can play as the Chaser, which are the ones that actually score points. You can play as I can't remember what they're called, the Bludgers or something.
Bludger, yeah.
Or the Keeper. And I really enjoyed playing as the Bludger because you don't have to worry about chasing the kind of main ball. You just kind of run around and hit people with your Bludger ball or whatever. And that was a lot of fun. Playing as the Seeker was surprisingly fun too. But it is weird because you're not really involved in the game that's going on. You're kind of just chasing the snitch around.
Playing your own game, yeah.
Yeah. So the Keeper for me was the weakest one because you're really just kind of standing in one spot and not standing in one spot, but you don't really get involved in the game. But the one thing they did add, which is cool from the Keeper's perspective, is you can actually draw out game plans. So you're standing at the back where the rings are, where people are trying to score, and you can actually put rings on the field and kind of tell your players to go this route. And then if your players go that route, they get little speed boosts based on where you put these rings. So that's kind of cool. But I'll talk a little bit more about it next week, because as I said, I haven't played a whole lot yet. But are either of you interested in becoming Quidditch champions, as it were?
No. As a matter of fact, I think it was probably 6 months ago at this point, I got an invite to be in the alpha test group, and I was like, nah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fun, but
Yeah, I mean,
It-
I would consider trying it just because I like sports light games. But I don't know that I'd sign up for PlayStation Plus. Is the only thing.
Fair
Dave,
enough.
are you gonna be able to play the Black Ops open beta then, since you have PlayStation Plus?
Yes, I don't know if I will, but I'll just kind of circle back to your discussion. I did watch a lot of Black Ops 6 this weekend on Twitch. That's just kind of how I do these things. And I got to be honest, this game is looking a little bit more twitchy zoomer bullshit than I can handle, which I'm not surprised. I think at some point Activision needs to start leading a little bit younger, but I'm a very casual Call of Duty players, as you guys know. So anytime things start to get sweaty, I don't have a good time. What I am really looking forward to sinking my teeth into is zombies. I didn't play enough zombies in Cold War, but what I did play, I enjoyed. So I assume this game is coming to Game Pass, so that's an easy sign up for me. I think I will have an active Game Pass subscription at that time, anyways, for Dragon Age. So yeah, I'll try it, but I don't think I'm going to play the open beta this weekend. Last thing I played was a little game called Tavern Keeper. This is from a studio called Greenheart Games. It's an indie studio, and they previously made Game Dev Tycoon. I don't know if that's a familiar game for anybody, but
Oh yeah.
Tavern Keeper is it's a medieval business sim where you run a medieval tavern, and it's very cartoony, and it's very charming and endearing. And I had a really good time with it. It's a demo. It doesn't come out until November, but it's free to check out on Steam. It's an isometric kind of Sims type view where you just have a tavern, and you add new product, and you can expand your tavern to make it more comfortable for your guests, or add a storeroom so you can add more products. You can hire staff, and you kind of manage their morale and their stress levels and stuff like that. All the kind of usual things that you get with a business sim. But what I love about this game is kind of the sense of humor and the storytelling, because as Ben, you probably know, one of the most interesting parts about working in a bar is the people who come and sit at your bar and tell you stories. Mm-hmm. So what's cool is like people will come in and they'll launch like a story arc. So one of the ones that happens in the demo is this skeleton walks into the bar and he sits down and he orders a drink, and you kind of look at him funny, and he's like, I just like the way the mug feels in my hand, and I like sloshing it around even though I can't drink it. And then he goes on to tell you that he works at the local dungeon, and his job is to scare adventurers and try to kill them and stuff like that. And he's starting to feel a little bit tired about his job, and he might want to quit. And before people, I think he says something like, before people knock his head off with an axe, they never ask how he's doing. So he wants a job where people, it's that kind of humor, right? So,
Yeah.
And then like he comes back later with a job application, and he wants to work at your bar so you can hire a skeleton. So yeah, Tavern Keeper is it's probably going to be a really cheap game when it comes out in November, but that's the kind of game that I like when it's fun to play, but also really fun to kind of laugh at and enjoy the characters. So
Nice. Cool.
So yeah, that's it for me this week.
Dave, I'm trying to look out for you here. You mentioned you were going to be playing Dragon Age on Game Pass, but I don't think it'll be on there.
Did I get that wrong? I thought it was on Game Pass.
I don't think it's on Game Pass. It'll be on EA Play, but it won't be on there on EA Play that's included. That's on the more premium EA Play. The EA Play
it's
that's
on
included
a
with
version of
Ultimate.
Game Ultimate, which is kind of, with the changes they made, that's kind of the one you need for anything, right?
Well, no. So Ultimate includes EA Play, but
Right.
EA Play does not have their brand new games. It only has
Okay.
them after like 6 or 8 months usually.
I've misspoken. Thank you.
But you will get a
correcting
free trial, like a 10-hour trial.
me. Okay. Well, I still think Game Pass is worth it for cost
Yeah, yeah.
per month, so.
I was just, it made me like, oh, can I play that without buying it? And then I realized now I need to tell Dave and the
I
audience.
think maybe because they had it during their Summer Games Fest presentation, Microsoft.
Yeah.
I maybe immediately assumed it was.
Yeah, I think they probably have some crazy marketing deal worked out too, because they're so intertwined. But
There we go. Sorry, I'm just so wound up over my Skull and Bones Platinum that I.
yeah,
Mistakes.
I get it, man. There's a lot of jubilation happening.
Jubilation.
Jubilation.
Hey.
All right, boys. Oh yeah, Alex confirms Dragon Age gets 10-hour trial with Game Pass Ultimate. Because if you only have the regular EA Play, not the higher tier edition, you know how there's like Ubisoft Plus and Ubisoft Plus Premium or whatever it is. EA Play is like that too, where you have the higher edition that gets brand new games, and then the other one that's just basically a backlog service. Anyway, that's it. That's all for the show. We appreciate everybody for hanging out, for listening, whether you're here live, whether you're here next week. Sorry. Whether you're here live, whether you're watching this in 2 years, whether we like you, okay? We appreciate it. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/handsofephantom. $1 a month, get you ad-free early access to the show, and, of course, hop into the Discord. Thank Dave for his apology. He would really appreciate it. handsomephantom.com/Discord. And that's all we got. Until we meet again, goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
I already got a name for the show.
Okay.
Last week was Gonecord. This week is Gonecord for real this time. Because.
Naturally.
Yeah. But that's all I got to say. Unless anybody pops up and wants to chat, I'm out of here.
That's it.
All she wrote, Brandon, were you okay when you got up? You looked like you were about to die.
Yeah, my allergies are bad
Oh.
again this time of year. So
Thought maybe you had the shard or something.
no, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll catch you later. Goodbye.